Are French businesses moving on from the COVID-19 pandemic, or could there be more trouble ahead? Welcome to People in Profit. This week we're at the annual conference of the French Employers Federation, Medef. Coming up, we'll speak to the man known as the boss of bosses in France about the winding down of government support for companies and whether a wave of bankruptcies could be on the way. Plus, French entrepreneurs tell us how they're feeling and innovating 18 months into the pandemic. Things are looking up for the French economy heading into the autumn. GDP is expected to expand by 6% this year, bringing the economy back to its pre-pandemic level. Unemployment has fallen to 8%, a rate last seen in 2019. Business and consumer confidence are looking positive too. At the same time, the French government is phasing out much of its massive financial support for businesses and workers. The virus could also present new challenges in the coming months. I've been asking the head of the business lobby, Medef, whether or not he's feeling optimistic.
Yes, I'm reasonably optimistic. A year ago, everybody was pessimistic. There was a lot of bad figure coming. We're talking about a wall of bankruptcy. We're talking about 1 million more people seeking jobs. In fact, it didn't happen. So we got good figure, but I'm also cautious. Why? Because we have difficulties. The first one is recruitment, which remain a difficulty. Everywhere in the world we see difficulties, but especially in France. We see also a lot of difficulties in sourcing. The price of certain raw materials increased massively, so that can create difficulty. And overall, the international situation, what has happened in Kabul, is probably a threat. The tension between China and Taiwan, China and America. So, yes, the short-term figures are positive, but we remain cautious.
As you say, that wall of bankruptcies hasn't materialised for now, but we are looking at the government phasing out a lot of its massive financial support to French businesses. Do you think that wave of bankruptcies could still come as a result of that?
No, not a wave. It's probably a catch-up, because the number of bankruptcy in 2020 and 2021 is lower than the one in 2019, which is not normal, so there will be a catch-up, but not a wave of bankruptcy. Our figure indicate that 5% of the French SMEs will not be in a position to refund the money they've been loaned 2 years ago. So we're discussing with the Minister of Finance how to avoid that, whether we need to extend the loans or find another solutions.
Only 5% you believe are going to have difficulty
5% of our members,
right,
but it's probably representative. So yes, there will be some bankruptcy. I mean, bankruptcy is part of normal business cycle, but not a wave.
And are there particular sectors you're concerned about for that?
Yes, of course. Everything which is linked to tourism and transport. I mean, there will be some restaurants and hotels which will suffer. There will be some travel agencies, public relation agency, that kind of business.
One of the things that businesses have been grappling with in recent weeks in France is the introduction of the health pass, making people show proof of their vaccination status. Is that something that the business community, how is that affecting business now?
We are in favour of the health pass. That's the only way out. I mean, it's better than lockdown, of course. And the first feedback are sort of so-so. In restaurants, it doesn't seem to impact the business, but it does impact the business massively in cinemas, all spectacles, all shows, and also in commercial centers, where the figure we have is about -20, -30%. But we need health pass because there is no other solution. The only thing we say is we don't want it forever. As soon as we can get rid of the health pass, let's stop it.
Are there any of the financial aids that you would like to see the government maintain for certain sectors, if you feel there are those vulnerable sectors now?
No, we're very clear. We should stop as soon as we can, at the end of the month of August, the financial aids. We're not entrepreneurs to live from the state subsidy, but there are certain geography or certain sectors where we can maintain them. For instance, hotel in Paris, where the international tourists are very limited. They have a sort of occupancy rate of 20-25%. They probably need some support.
This is going to be your last annual conference, annual ref before the next election. Do you see a big political risk in the next coming election?
You know the truth? I don't know, because you will ask if you had asked me the question in 2016 before the previous election, I don't think I will forecast the actual results. So I'm a bit cautious. It's very difficult to say. Today the polls are in favor of Emmanuel Macron if he goes for re-election. But it is 8 months, 9 months before the election, so it's very difficult to say.
What issues will you be hoping for the business community will be talked about
Well,
in that
I think
debate?
we have really two main issues. The first one is an overall issue of public spending. We need some reform, especially on retirement, the age of retirement, which is too low in France, 62. But overall, our system is spending too much, so we need to reduce public spending. On one hand, I think we have another issue, which is more of a long-term issue, which is education. The level of French education, lower education, not high university, is going down in the international ranking. And in modern economy, that's a factor of competitiveness, as important as the cost of labor or the cost of taxation.
There were several key economic reforms delayed by the government because of the pandemic, including, you mentioned, pensions there. Is now the time for them to push ahead with that, do you think?
No. I mean, we are 8 months before an election. You don't do a major reform 8 months before an election, especially when the economy is fragile. So we think that's really a theme for the election. We think that the candidate should tell the truth on the financial balance of the system, or unbalance in a particular case, and then the people will decide.
You're starting this event this year with a focus on the French-speaking world. What's your goal there to try and build those alliances?
Well, I think it's language. Common language is a big advantage, especially when it's a language like French, which is not spoken by everybody. And we have a massive potential, especially in Africa, to do cross-border deals. So we've gathered about 600 entrepreneurs from French-speaking country, trying to boost and to foster business between us.
Okay, Geoffroy Roux de Bézieux, President of Medef.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The past 18 months has seen businesses make major changes to how they operate as they adjust to lockdowns or COVID-19 restrictions. We've been speaking to some of the entrepreneurs here about how they're feeling now and the lessons they've learned over the past 18 months.
So we are quite optimistic about our own industry and our own business. Still, there are some threats that are everywhere. Depending on the industry you are working for, there are some shortage in equipment, like semiconductors for automotive company, for example. There is prices that are going up with the energy price, for example, that can prevent the recovery to come back as quickly as we expected.
I think it will be positive for our industry because many companies are either moving or revamping their offices to adapt to the new ways of working, more digital, more remote, more hybrid. Our main concern in our industry is the shortage on raw materials, the global shortage on raw materials that is causing delays in our material supply for works and in the furniture deliveries, and the prices are also increasing.
And my main concern is in this situation is we are growing, and it's very difficult to hire people at the moment with the pass sanitaire. So my main concern is how to hire people and to be able to have enough people to support the growth.
What's your concern with the health pass?
There is a lot of people, there are some people, they don't want to be vaccinated. So I've got some people leaving and I've got to replace them. And that's difficult in this period today.
So you're finding people that you're looking to hire, there's a reluctance for people to get vaccinated?
Seller, contact center agent, engineer. It's quite difficult because you have people leaving because they don't want to be vaccinated. And as we are working at the home of the elderly, you have to be vaccinated because it's a law. And so you lose people, it's difficult to find people today.
We know that it's very difficult to go and do business outside of Europe. In the US, it's difficult nowadays. We are now able to go back in Canada, which is very nice. We are helped with by a lot of institutions in France that help us to get all the authorization, visas, etc., to be able to to meet the leaders of hospitals outside of Europe. But that's maybe the concern. If there are some closing states again, it will just limit our market and expansion. And we have chosen some strategic states, and we hope that they will still be open and they will wish to work with us.
That's it from us at the Medef conference, but you can watch back all of our previous programmes on the France 24 website, and we're on social media if you have any comments or questions. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Join us on the Europe Show here in Belgium, as well as in France. We've been talking to ministers and EU MPs to try to understand why there is so much opposition to the international free trade deals being agreed or negotiated in Brussels with other parts of the world. What will the impact be on the farming world, on the common agricultural policy, and on EU member states' economy? You'll know more of that on the Europe Show.
Talking Europe on France 24 and France24.com.